A pleasure to me all at last, and we are back at it once again with more HJN Season 5. And with plenty more subjects on the rise here. Number 2703, for instance, is going to talk about journals. Now, some people might be wondering, am I ever going to talk about something like diaries, which are the more privatized equivalent to that of the journal? Sometimes it contains a log, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, diaries and journals, they're both books that people write in. And that's the end of the story on that part. But even today, some people might find the diary to be a bit of a stirring of the pot of boiling water. Meaning, sometimes they can cause trouble for some people. Yeah. Hyperbolic time chat, anyone? Yeah, good reference. I've already given a little promo and shout out to them a couple different times this year, because they've been a growing channel this whole year. Anyways though, journals is what we're going to be talking about though. But the main difference between the journal and the diary is that it's not exactly a privatized book that somebody carries with them. Often it will be explained that it's a journal and not much of a diary. Often a giant bold word known as journal will be on the front cover. And sometimes it can happen on the packaging or anything else really, depending on how the journal itself was prepared for sale at the store. Sometimes they'll have stickers for the price tags and barcodes. And sometimes they'll have other things as well. A layer of plastic wrapped around it. I know I've bought a few journals over the years that have had plastic wrapped around it for the purpose of protecting against moisture, dust, and other things. Which is a unique way to keep things secured and comfortable. But the thing is that journals are more commonly known by the public to this very day because the main usage they have is for people to write things in. A journal can be made as a means of jotting down notes or jotting down things to study with for school or college. And while there's also a good variety of other things people can do in there, even people have been known to sketchbook in these. And I know that you're probably wondering that sketchbooks are their own thing that I could probably talk a bit about, maybe some other time. Regardless though, journals are more about writing and not so much about drawing, but that doesn't mean that I haven't seen anybody draw in them. And I tell you what, I remember one guy I've had at work who would come around and show me whatever thing he's drawn. I mean, he's drawn Earthworm Jim, he's drawn Luffy, he's drawn Dragon Ball, he's drawn Barney the Dinosaur. Yeah, that was his favorite show growing up. He was well into his 10s in the 90s, so in his 40s now. Nice job, Ken Ramos. If you're even watching my channel at all, I do wish you well, regardless of what's going on with your life right now. But we do miss you. Your sticker is still on my van line. Yeah. I don't really want to shift towards that focus because, after all, the main purpose of journals is, after all, a nice little thing to keep around in case you want to write anything in it. And while the diary does more or less the same sort of thing, it's more about the Dear Diary entries. As in, Dear Diary, today I had an embarrassing day at school. And that's pretty much the whole stigma about the diary itself, even to this day. It really makes you wonder, why do they even sell diaries to this very day? Well, nobody really knows for sure on that part as to why diaries need to exist when private matters don't really need to exist anymore. Because as long as the internet continues to exist, we'll pretty much have our best and our worst in motion. Overall, the journal, while I do still have a few of them around here at my house, probably the biggest one that I made was for a very big project that I've been planning for the past 10 years. If you haven't already known about it, well, it's what I consider my pièce de résistance. The work of all my work. The culmination of all my biggest talents and all of my biggest genius, productivity, and creative writing, and many other unique ideas. I call it Kaiju Force Neo's Ecstatic Times, an animated show that is pretty much inspired by the likes of Simpsons, Family Guy, King of the Hill, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, Paradise PD, Archer, etc. You get the idea. Adult cartoons are a pretty big thing right now, and probably will be for a while. But I, of course, will have my own share of the take put in. It'll connect our world, reality, with the world of kaiju, like Godzilla, Baragon, Mothra, Ultraman, Gamera, etc. You get the idea. Bunch of Japanese monsters. That was the culture I practically grew up in and loved the most over the years. Especially if it wasn't anything like Nerf, Hot Wheels, Legos, etc. Or anything else that I've been known to do. Well, I feel like I could talk a bit more about Ecstatic Times in its own entirety. Maybe next time I do the vlogathon, that could be its own thing worth talking about. Anyways, though, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side for more HJN subjects.